Oh, there's the agenda.
I know how to write about copies. I heard that he was ill or something.
He didn't say specifically. He just said he had to go to hospital. So
Yeah, what Richard heard, I think, is that he had a small, they didn't call it a TIA, but they called it something else, but it's basically a small type of stroke. And I think that he's already, back home, but I'm not sure, how bad, that it affected him. But I think it was small, but it was still, scary.
Yeah,
of course.
exactly.
Yeah.
all right, it is 11:31. So we can start. We can start with the roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Batimana,
Here.
Commissioner Boyd,
Here.
Commissioner Guster,
Here.
Commissioner Carp, no. Commissioner Pecora, no. Okay. Commissioner Swanberg,
Here.
and myself, Commissioner Transu. So 5 of the 7.
We're good. Okay. So we have 5 of the 7. We should be good to go. And if everybody can just look at that agenda and that short agenda for today, and then we can have a motion for that.
I move to approve.
I second.
Thank you. And so we move on to discussing, the administrative rules.
We'll need to vote, Ruby.
Oh, sorry. So everybody in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? No? We get 5 votes. So the agenda is approved as published. And then so now we can move on to the discussion of the administrative rules. Where is my copy?
When I got on the committee to be a part of the subcommittee, to be a part of the going over the administrative rules and membership, just what was it that we were assigned to do? What was it that we were assigned to do?
For this specific subcommittee?
Yes.
Oh.
I was asking the director.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out how to put it all on one screen here.
Oh,
the
I thought I
subcommittee
did
was,
something.
no, that was all me.
Oh,
The subcommittee was assigned to work on rules that relate to the meeting and kind of functional things with the commission. So kind of administrative type things.
Okay, and so we were shown the packet of 21 with the that said Davenport Civil Rights Commission Draft Administrative Rules, Chapter 1, Purpose, Construction, Definitions, and General Provisions. Okay, now we weren't to go over that whole document, were we?
Well, I don't think we're gonna go, top to bottom, but I'm sure everybody has read it. And then if
Yes.
you have, some questions maybe, or you want to discuss something for clarification, I think that's what we're trying to do today.
I have some just kind of preliminary questions, kind of general matters. I mean, and I'm assuming that these really should be termed regulations, because I think under the ordinance, we are empowered to issue regulations. To issue, amend, or rescind suitable regulations not inconsistent with this chapter, that is the ordinance or law to carry out the provisions of this chapter. So I'm assuming that we will want to call these regulations, and that
They would be called administrative rules, because that's what they're called under 17A.
well, it seems that our, if we're going to choose between following 17A or our ordinance, it would seem that we would follow our ordinance whenever there's a discrepancy. I guess what I'm getting at, I guess it doesn't matter what we call them, so long as we understand that they are regulations within the meaning of our ordinance and would be subject to the procedure for,
The rulemaking procedure,
right.
which is administrative rules, so rulemaking.
Well, I mean, our
And
ordinance.
it's under 216, says rules pursuant to 17A.
Well, and our own ordinance at 2.58050E, regulations issued under this subsection or any amendments or rescission thereof shall be subject to public hearing before adoption, no less than 15 days notice of hearing. They're placed in file. There's a whole procedure there that I'm assuming we would follow, because that is our ordinance, which is the,
Yes,
that's what we have to follow.
that's the rulemaking procedure.
Right.
Yeah, we also have to follow the Iowa Civil Rights Act and how it states it's supposed to happen. So I guess maybe it would be semantics to say rules or regulations, but they're called administrative rules for the Iowa Civil Rights Commission and other commissions as well. So
Well, again, I guess it doesn't matter what we call them, as long as we all understand that they are regulations under the ordinance and would be subject to that procedure for getting them in place. And I guess I would think that we would want to have, if we're going to put any kind of gloss on that or any kind of details, we would want to have those in our regulations. And I guess, is it?
I'm not following. What did you say? Can you repeat that?
I'm not sure I can. I guess what I was just getting at is that, we look to our ordinance, and our charge is to fulfill what the ordinance says we're supposed to do. And the ordinance really is that's our guidance. And we can't go beyond the ordinance, but we do need to fully fulfill what we're required to do under the ordinance.
But this shows how we fit into the total setup of, administrative rules. So if it shows how, we are a part of things, it's hard enough for me it was hard to go through this. So if we could, what shows that we are a part of the total makeup, that's good for me.
And I guess just to follow Janelle, because I just have some notes. Looking at, the beginning, the purpose, I guess, I don't know too, instead of saying the mission of the Davenport Civil Rights Commission, since this is, administrative rules, wouldn't the purpose of the administrative rules?
This isn't what we were reviewing. We were reviewing the sections that we were asked to draft. And so this was already, these sections, and I think we've talked about it several times before, these were already drafted, and they were approved by the commission. And there are several chapters and the proposed updated ordinance. So all of that stuff was already reviewed and approved by the commission. And so what we have now is, if we're not going to have a new ordinance drafted, so obviously there are the sections that need to be corrected to fit the existing ordinance, which I thought we had talked about, and so that was clear that those edits needed to be made, so that it could be a document that's like ready to go tomorrow. But I can't do that because it's already been approved by the commission. So prior to me going through and taking things out, I would need to be directed to do that, and then I would go through every chapter and do that. And then we would have to send that back to HUD and the EOC and let them re-review it again, and tell us whether or not it's in compliance. So the sections that we drafted were 1.13 and beyond. So pages 9 to 21, that's what we added to the document, the bottom of page 9.
So we should be starting with 1.13.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Latrice, when was this approved?
Back in 2017.
Oh, well, that's a different commission.
Right. So that there would be no point in reviewing sections that need to be updated that we weren't looking at. That's not what we were working on. So we should be focusing on the portion that we worked on.
Well,
I
guess I would just like to say briefly, this is the first I'm hearing that we're only reviewing pages 9 going forward. But I'm back to, these are, my understanding is these are going to be regulations, and a lot of what I see in the first part of these goes beyond the statute, goes beyond the ordinance, and can't be. So I'm
but
not.
But that's the portion that we already discussed, and I think you and I discussed it probably about 10 times now. The portions that go beyond the ordinance would be the additional protected classes, which are with the proposed ordinance. So back in January of 2020, you were given every chapter and you were given the proposed ordinance, which has those additional protected classes. So what we did at that time, we were drafting administrative rules, and then we drafted an update to the ordinance in collaboration with the University of Iowa Law School. And so we have all of those we worked for years to get all of that drafted and make sure that it fits with the way that the commission functions and the way that cases are processed through the office. And we had to have that approved by the commission. Then we had to send it out to get approved by EOC and HUD. And then we worked with HUD until early 2018 before they gave us the okay to move forward with it. And then at the same time, that's when all of the stuff started happening with the attempts to dismantle the commission. So that is what it is that was already done. So at this point, what we have discussed since at least January of 2020 is that we have a set of administrative rules that we can amend to remove the additional protected classes so that they can be ready to go pursuant to our existing ordinance. So that is a non-issue. That would just need to be a vote that needs to be had, but I don't think that that's what we were doing here today. It was my understanding in October was that we were going to draft some rules of how the meetings are supposed to be carried out and kind of administrative things with the commission and like what the roles were. And so that's what the group worked on. And that was my understanding of what we were supposed to be working on. I don't know if Ms. Boyd or Mike, if that's what your understanding was as well.
That's exactly what my understanding was, and I'm not quite following where the other conversation is going, and I can tell you guys, I don't want to get wrapped around the axle and semantics of words and things of this nature. I think it's unnecessary, and but let me just say it like this here. Let's address what we come to do, and let's get it done, and let's move on. I mean, this is the second time that you guys have that we've convened, and that you've got some time that I'm taking away that I could be doing something else and stuff. And so I just want to get it done today, and I don't want to spend a lot of time with semantics of words and stuff. So, but you're absolutely right, Director Lacey. That was the premise for which we were meeting.
Okay.
Once we go over the 1.13, the conduct of members, once we go over that, won't the time come that we'll have to approve it in its entirety?
Yeah, I think after
won't that come from the road?
Yeah, I think after we do that, if we want, we could maybe even ask the professor who did a lot of the legwork in drafting it to come in and present and go over it with the commission.
And who was that, Latrice?
Lynn Sandler, the director of law and
I know
policy
Lynn.
at the University of Iowa.
Yeah. So we're starting at 1.13.
Yes, those were the sections that we added. And I mean, you can look at the jump drive that you were given in January of 2020, and it has the previous version. And so this is the updated version of this chapter.
Well, it's very detailed and wordy, but it seems to me like it's written, it's done in our best interest.
So,
Am I mistaken?
so from the beginning to 1.12 has already been approved?
To 1.1.
Yeah, if we're gonna start at 1.13, everything above that has already been approved?
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
But as I understand it, we're going to vote again on the entirety of it so that changes
Oh.
could be made
Yeah.
to those
Yes.
earlier sections. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. I just had it seems like there's a typo, 1.133 to the end of the second line. The complaint should state the name of, should be space, the alleged violator.
What page is that?
17. Anybody else see that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll pose that again.
I'm sorry, it's the end of the second line of that section, how to file. The second sentence says the complaint should state the name of, and there should be a space, the alleged
Yes.
violator. And then another change that we might consider, page 18, wrongful use of ethics provision. At the end of that paragraph, it says the commission may utilize the complaint and investigation procedure contained herein to consider alleged wrongful use of the, and it says commission, and it seems to me it would make more sense to say of the complaint and investigative process.
Where are you at, Janelle?
I'm at the kind of near the end of number 10 in the middle of page 18. Like the fifth line from the bottom of that paragraph, the commission may utilize the complainant investigative procedure contained herein to consider alleged wrongful use of, and it doesn't seem to me it's a wrongful use of the commission, it's an alleged wrongful use of the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Persons found to have committed wrongful use of the complainant investigative process may be subject. So in both those places, we would substitute complaint and administrative, or complaint and investigative procedures or process for the word commission.
Correct it, please.
I don't know where the other.
And then there's an oath taking that happens.
Yeah, you actually should have done that now. So
And just another typo on page 19, 1.14212, meeting, the chairperson shall preside at all official meetings of the commission, comma, that should be a lowercase, make the public feel welcome, lowercase m there.
What number was that?
1.14212. It's just a typo. It just needs to be a lowercase m rather than a capital, I think. And then in that next section, meeting follow-up, I think that it should be the chairperson shall follow space up on agenda items. I think when follow-up is a noun, it's one word, and I think when it's a verb, when you follow up on something, it's two words. Am I right about that? Small matter.
I believe so.
Or should we get someone who knows about the specifics like that to read over the entire item for corrections of that sort?
And then in number 6, the staff liaison, the chairperson shall serve as a liaison for the director. The commission is the collective manager of the director. I think that should be a semicolon there. It should provide goals, comma, resources, comma, rules, and an accountability, and I would add requirements to the director, accountability requirements to the director. Is that acceptable?
what's the distinction there?
Pardon me?
What's the distinction there?
Well, I don't think that we provide accountability to her. I think we provide accountability requirements to her. It seems that that's talking about I guess I was viewing this as fulfilling our role in supervising the director. Am I wrong about that? Is this more that this stuff is coming from the commission? And our goals, our resources, which is it? Do members of the committee remember?
I'm confused as to what you're asking.
to add
I'm looking.
requirement after accountability.
Right, but where is, what, for staff liaison is what you're talking about?
Yes.
What is the distinction there? What does that mean in the scope of that sentence?
Well, I guess I'm asking, this seems to be saying the commission is the collective manager of the director. So we're talking here about our supervisory role with respect to the director. So it says that we should provide goals, resources, rules, and accountability to the director. Is that accountability by us, or is that are we asking for accountability from the director? That's my question. And if it's the latter, I would think we would want to
This is in the scope of staff liaison and who is supposed to be prescribing accountability measures, but this is in the scope of staff liaison. So I think the ordinance kind of outlines the management function of the director. But if that was going to be expanded on, I don't think it would be expanded on under the staff liaison section.
Well, then why is the sentence, the commission is the collective manager of the director? Why is that sentence in there if it's not dealing with our role in supervising the director?
It's dealing with the chair's role as staff liaison. The director is serving as the liaison for the commission, and they would work with the chair. But it's saying the chair doesn't have sole authority to do anything. The commission would have to agree to it.
Well, again, I'm back to what are we getting at when we say it, which I understand to be the commission, should provide goals, resources, rules, and accountability to the director? Is it saying that the commission should be accountable to the director, or is it saying that the commission should ask the director to be accountable to us?
This is in the scope of a staff liaison. So let's say, well, for example, let's give like the letter that was supposed to be sent to council for budget, and that still hasn't been sent. So that's something that the commission collectively would be accountable to the director for. But I might work directly with the chair on getting that accomplished. This is in the scope of serving as a staff liaison.
So when we say the chairperson shall serve as a liaison for the director, it should be liaison for the commission, not the director. Correct?
The chairperson is the staff person's liaison. That's their liaison on staff. The director is the staff person that interacts with the commission. So the
I think what we're talking about here is the chairperson. When we want the director to do something, should be that person that's interacting with the director as it pertains to what action we've asked voted on in the commission meetings to execute in terms of the mission. So to be me personally, I don't see anything that's really a big hiccup here and stuff. If we want to change some words, let's change them. And I don't want to get caught up personally on verbiage and stuff, because I think it really speaks to where we want to go. The chairperson is the liaison that should be speaking to the director. You don't have everybody trying to provide guidance in terms of something that we have voted on during a particular meeting for a role or a piece of action that we want to take moving forward. If that doesn't if that helps. I may have clouded up the situation, but that's what I think.
Well, and I appreciate it. I was just getting at, which direction these things were flowing, the goals, resources, rules, and accountability, whether they were flowing from the commission and the chairperson to the director or the other way, because of the way the beginning of that sentence starts out saying that the commission is the collective manager of the director. And I guess what I'm hearing is that the goals, resources, rules, and accountability flow from the commission to the director. Is that what the committee envisions?
Once we vote in a particular meeting with respect to what we want to do, I think this sentence or this paragraph is implying that the chairperson then works with the director to make sure that we meet those goals or that we exercise those resources that's required to take care of that part of the mission.
Okay, I'm fine leaving it the way it is. And, I'm sorry, Mike, but, words matter. And I realize this is, sometimes it's like chewing a horse blanket. It's not easy, but I think we need to get it right. So I think we'll all try to do that. And I'm sorry to
Well, no,
take time.
Janelle, I'm not saying that words doesn't matter. You're absolutely right. Words does matter, and I agree there. So if there is something that we want to flush out, let's flush it out and let's get it the way we want it. But,
I agree. Thanks.
so I'm not against that, but I'm just merely stating what I believe the staff liaison paragraph is speaking to.
And I just had a question about 1.144, the middle of page 20, attendance. And this is talking about attendance by commissioners at meetings. And there's no provision there for attendance by phone or virtually. Do we want to provide for that, or is it assumed that we'll attend somehow?
It's assumed that people will attend somehow.
Okay. I mean, people don't feel that there's a need to say it's okay to participate. I mean, I think through time, people
make that explicit.
That's already clear in state law.
Read somewhere in here that I believe it allows us to meet this requirement based upon whatever the situation may require. And I can't remember where I read it at. And I'll have to find it. Let's see here. A meeting may be down in 1.15 meetings. A meeting may be conducted by electronic means only in circumstances where such a meeting in person is impossible or impacted, and then only in compliance with the provision of Chapter 21 of the Code of Iowa. And I think it covers that there.
But I read that to deal with the meeting as a whole, like we're doing now. We're meeting virtually. I guess my concern is that it'd be clear that individual members might from time to time need to participate by phone or virtually, and that they would be able to do so. But if people feel that that's not worth, I mean, we could certainly add a sentence that says attendance may be by telephone or virtual means. We could add that. That would make it clear. But if it isn't needed, I guess it isn't needed.
And then nothing in this 1.15, nothing says anything about special meetings.
If you look down in 1.15, you and 1.15, item 6, it talks to electronic meetings. And the our code says that you can attend meeting remotely, so we can't violate our code
Okay, yeah, that's
back
fine.
to our meeting processes anyway. If you want to put it in there, I'm not against that and stuff. So
I mean, as long as we all understand that that's the case, and
yeah,
that's fine. So Ruby, what was your point about the special meetings?
Well, we have open meetings, we have minutes, closed sessions, but nothing says anything about, special meetings.
code
What would it need
provides
to say
for
about special meetings?
Like when we discuss cases, like, when we discuss cases, we're supposed to, wouldn't that be part of administrative rules to wait? Remember last time we were talking about waiting 21 days after, I don't remember now, like, 5 days upon, 5 days after a notice is sent out, then a complainant would have 21 days to submit any other evidence, things like that. Does that not have to be in this, an item under meetings?
No, that's in the ordinance.
yeah, that's what I would refer back to, because that's covered under the ordinance in terms of what the specificity for a person or individuals to respond to any type of actions that take place, and doesn't have to be detailed here in this here particular setting here.
And then for attendance, how do you know if it's excused or unexcused?
By conveying to you as the chair, or to the director, that we're not going to be, or to the commission as a whole, that we're not going to be present for the next meeting, that would suffice as an excused absence, just like you would in any other circumstances that you would be excused from work because you can have a doctor's appointment or some other matter that would preclude you from being at that particular place.
And I would think that could be announced at the beginning of the meeting, if somebody's absent, the chair could say, so-and-so's absence today is excused.
Absolutely.
Or unexcused.
As long as that person has made contact through the director, through the chair, or through another member, that they are not going to be present for whatever reason that might be. To me, that is an excused absence. Even if even if the individual is not able to make communication, if an individual is have a medical emergency or something, to me that's an excused absence. I mean, I would use common sense when I look at that. I'm not going to look at something, me personally, to give somebody an unexcused absence for attendance here.
And I guess the only other kind of general question I had, I mean, these regulations, rules, whatever we call them, they do allude to a quorum from time to time. And I don't know whether we want to discuss that with Len Sandler, if we want to just put in here somewhere that we're going to follow 17A, how we want to handle that. Do you have thoughts on that, Latrice?
I think that 17A says that to, if it's silent, then it's 2/3 of the members. The only portion
understand,
of the ordinance that references that says 2/3 as well. I don't think that we would add a numerical quantity in the rule because it's not within the ordinance.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, it seems like we're being forced to pick, and I just view these regulations, rules as a chance to get some of this stuff out there and on paper and for all to see and understand. So it you know, it might be something to keep in mind for when we go through this to approve the entire thing, that we might just allude to the fact that 17A requires 2/3, and we're going to do that. Then everybody would know, and we wouldn't have to. I mean, this organization, I think, has spent some time spinning its wheels, wondering what a quorum might or might not be, and I think that's no good.
I don't think it has. I think perhaps people were told that by the legal department, and they were incorrectly told that. But instead of listening to the director, it was supposed to listen to the legal department.
Well, I can remember
extensive case law that says that though we are not an agency as defined by 17A, we are supposed to conduct our business in accordance with 17A. And our ordinance says that the things that we're deciding on cases have to be done in accordance with 17A. And so under 17A, it very clearly says if the ordinance is silent on what constitutes a quorum, then it's 2/3.
So where are we?
I'm not sure. I think if anybody is confused about it, they can look at the Iowa Administrative Procedures Act, and it clearly says that. So
2/3 of 7 is 4.62, and if you round up, that's 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys take it from there. We're gonna go with 2/3 then. You certainly can't have 4.5. So.
Well, and I think, the point is that state law provides this for us. All I'm suggesting we do is that we articulate that so it's clear to everybody.
Yeah. So we don't have to say, go look for it every time.
Yeah. But we can certainly do that in the future.
Let's just stick to the 2/3, and I think we'll do fine. But maybe I'll go 1.5. Okay, Madam Chair, what is our pleasure here?
Yeah, I don't know. Any other questions, discussions? No? So if we vote for this, we vote for its entirety? No?
Corrections that we have made to the document today. Is that correct, Director Lasik? Can you give us help there, please?
Yes, we would be just reviewing and voting on the corrections for today, and then we can set up a time to go over all of the chapters. And I think it would be helpful for Lynn to do that.
How many chapters are there?
I believe there are 5.
Okay.
Do you still have your USB that has it on there?
Yes.
Okay. So those are all of
believe
the
so.
chapters.
It's, so to come back and discuss the whole chapter can, well, no, that's okay. I'm gonna leave that.
So if we're just going to decide today whether we approve the changes that we made, I would vote that we approve the changes that we made. I would move that.
Okay.
The appointment in terms of members. Is it usually, is this a usual thing when somebody who wants to be a member of the commission applies directly to the commission and not through what we currently do?
I think there's a motion on the floor, right?
I would withdraw my motion.
Okay. Let's see.
So this is the same conversation that we had during the meeting. And yes, that's how that process works and has worked for the last 2 decades. It's
What
just
page is
become
that on?
recently that has not been how it works.
1.12.
Well, I guess my concern too is that this appears to give the commission a veto over applicants. And because it says after potential candidates have passed the review by the commission, they will be considered an eligible individual and sent to the mayor. And I don't think that the ordinance gives the commission a veto.
No, it doesn't. And the mayor still have his right to reject and recommend who he or she wants to consider and to fill that position. This in no way prohibits the mayor from his appointment. The mayor doesn't have to take the commission's recommendation. But I don't think we are reviewing 1.2 today.
Oh, is that see, that's where I'm confused.
Yeah, 1.12 is
Yeah,
not.
we started with 1.13, didn't we?
Right.
Right, yeah, that's why I was confused, yeah. So we're not dealing with that today.
No.
Well, so it will be some other day.
Yeah,
My understanding it will be.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay. I would renew my motion. Is that okay, Jeff? Do you still have it?
Sure. Yeah, I'll put that you renewed it, yeah.
I second that motion.
Okay, Michael.
All right, so we have a motion, then we have a second. Everybody in favor of that motion?
Questions to the motion.
Oh, is there any other questions? No? So,
No, I didn't have any questions. I just want to make sure you got that in there.
oh, yeah. So we're all good? No other questions? Okay, so everybody in favor, or how do we want to do this? Do we just say all yay, nay, and or do we want to do a roll call and vote?
We could just
I think
do it
we
like
can just vote.
yeah.
So everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. And I oppose. So it's 4-1.
Okay, one opposed.
What was it that you opposed, Ruby?
Just I've although we're just voting for part of this document, you know, the oath taking, the attendance, I kind of understand. What other notes do I have? When it comes to, what is this? The member interaction. It says, concerns by the member of the commission regarding behavior of the commission employees. It talks about, staff, which is good. But what if it's the director? I guess it doesn't say that.
Is the director not staff?
Well, it is, but when you say members shall not reprimand employees directly, nor should they communicate their concerns to anyone other than the director.
Right.
If for example, it's the director and you don't feel comfortable talking to the director, where does that leave it?
What are you talking about?
If we're talking about staff, right, staff. If anybody in the commission,
Can you cite a section that you're referring to?
it's number 5 under 1.14. But, we already
What
voted.
page is this?
Okay.
I'm confused as to why you didn't bring it up
20.
while we were discussing it. It seems like that would have been a good time to discuss it.
No, it's,
Went over it. 1.15.
the discussion is
Page
over. We
20.
already voted. I'm just,
Right.
and again, I also believe that we have to put what a quorum is in there.
Right. That's referring to the director. So that's referring to staff of the commission.
Mm-hmm. So that's fine. It's done. We already voted.
I was trying to figure out where your confusion was so that maybe it could be clarified.
No, I'm not confused. I guess it's just not leaving any other room
Any other room for what?
for other concerns.
Right. What are you? This relates to commission staff.
Mhm.
So where is the? I guess I'm confused.
There is no confusion. I'm not confused. I'm just
I
not.
think you are, because I think you're referring to a section that relates to you attempting to reprimand staff that's under my supervision. And there's no authority within the ordinance for that.
Right. No,
so that should
I
come to the
understand.
director. You're talking about, well, what if I don't like the director? And that's
No,
not
I
what that
did not
section
say what
relates
if
to.
I did not say that, for the record.
But that's not what that section relates to. That relates to the staff that's under the director.
Right. And so what I'm saying is, if we're talking staffing in general, like what you said, the director is part of the commission staff. So that doesn't leave, room for that.
This is relating to staff under the director.
It's member interaction, communication with staff. But again, we already voted, so.
That's not helpful. I think so I would like to go back to what we discussed at the last meeting with your behavior review. If there is an issue to be discussed at the meeting, this would be the time to discuss it. So if you had a question about what that section meant, when we were going through it, that would be an appropriate time to raise the concern to work through it. But instead you're saying, oh, well, I'm just not going to talk about it and I'll just vote no because I don't like it. And that doesn't help everyone, because I think the purpose of us reviewing it is to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that it's clear what it is, what we're supposed to be doing moving forward. And so when the question about this, when you read it in context of the whole section, this is relating to staff under the director. So it says research or other staff work should be directed to the director. Critiques of staff should be directed to the director. And your question was, what if the issue is the director? So you're just saying, well, I didn't say that. That's what you said. What if the issue is the director? That's not what this section relates to. And it also seems like, again, like kind of a snide remark relating back to the previous conversations that we've had. And it's inappropriate. So here we are in the midst of the discussion. I would like for someone to intervene here, because we just had that discussion at the last meeting. Ruby has continued to ignore me, still has not sent out the letter to council regarding budget, has not responded to my emails. And now we have another snide remark of, what if the issue is the director?
It is not a snide remark. And
that is a snide remark, because that's not what that section relates to. And
I understand that.
I was
what are you
concerned. I was concerned that
this is why I do not want to say anything, because regardless of what I say, the interpretation is different. And so everybody has voted. We've had our discussion. We voted 4-1. It's done. I don't want to say anything more because it's going to be misconstrued. That's it.
But that's not being misconstrued. When you read the section in context, it clearly is relating to staff under the director.
I understand, Latrice, you are not the only one who went to law school.
And I'm not saying that.
Hey guys, hold up, guys. Let's stop right here, okay? First of all, let me be very clear. It has nothing to do with whether I've been to law school or anything else like that there. I would like for us to try to have a discussion that's professional, a discussion that's one that can be considerate, one that would be, don't put any individual in the position to feel uncomfortable. And then if we get there, we still have got to remain and retain our composure and get through our meetings. The other side of this coin is that when it comes to the staff, I want people to understand that when you have a staff, there is only one person that when that particular section or organization has a supervisor, that supervisor is responsible for the supervision of those individuals. And you can't have 5 or 6 bosses, and with the exception here with the director has 7. Okay. The commission, if we have a problem, not any one individual, if we have a problem with the director, will convene and have that conversation with the director. If somebody has a problem with a staff that's under the supervision of the director, they ought to talk to the director. Let me give you a case in point. As a manager on my job when I worked, I had an individual that came in to my directorate and began yelling at one of my employees. And I can tell you, when I got back to the office, I marched down to that individual's office and I told him in no uncertain terms is he to ever come into my office when he has a problem with my employee and discharge or even act in the manner that he did. If you got a problem with one of my employees, you talk to me because I am the one that's responsible for their actions. So, and I said it to say this here, guys. Let's make sure that we as individuals treat others like we want to be treated. Let's just do that. Let's just try that. And if you don't want to do that, you know, there are some other options that we have and stuff. And so that's all I ask. I'm not here because I'm getting paid. None of us are. We're here because we want to be here. We care about the community that we are in. So let's act like it, guys. I mean, and I'll shut up right there and stuff because that makes no sense for us to get to the level where we're at. Thank you.
So I do agree with you, Mike. And that's why I said, you know, that's it. We already voted and we're done. But again, I don't appreciate putting words in my mouth. And so I'll leave it at that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, one thing is very clear. There are some very strong-minded individuals on this here commission, and we speak our minds, and we've just got to make sure that we are respectful. If we say something and it offends the other individual, we got to take it at face value that that's what it does. It offends them, and we can't do that. I mean, that's just the bottom line. That's just the way things are these days. I mean, if it offends you, if it offends me, I've got to quit no matter how medial we think it may be. And we have to act appropriately. Thanks.
All right, is there anything else for us to do?
Yes, I think going back to what I just said, the issue is continuing. So what is going to be our next step? Because we have things that we're supposed to be doing in the office, and we can't do the work if we are not getting responses. So it took 2 weeks to get the final order signed, and that creates a huge delay. And it also changes someone's appeal rights. So you've extended out the person's right to appeal by 2 additional weeks. And just, I sent another email reminding of the previous emails that I sent that I did not receive a response to. And I didn't get a response to that either. And I think it's really inappropriate to ignore someone's emails. I think it's rude and it's unprofessional. And I don't think that I should be working in an environment where the chair of the commission is refusing to speak to me.
Okay, so we're done with the administrative rules. Any public comments and
I'm
presentation?
sorry, no, we are discussing this item,
not on
still
the
that's
agenda.
a remainder item that's there. So I would like for there to be some action taken. And Ruby, I think that was incredibly rude what you just did, and it was continuing to be unprofessional, and it was dismissive. So we
Okay.
had a discussion at the meeting this month of how that was going to proceed moving forward, and the behavior is continuing. So I would like for there to be some action taken of what we should be doing next.
What is your proposal, Director Lacy?
If Ruby doesn't want to perform the work of the chair or a commissioner, then why is she on the commission? Why is she serving as the chair?
What?
I emailed Ruby back in March. She hasn't responded to me. I sent her a reminder email the other day, and she didn't respond to me again. The letter that we drafted back in, what was that, February? That still hasn't been sent out to council. It's all of these things are just dragged out for months, and that slows down every process that we're working on. And we're understaffed. We cannot go through and micromanage the work that the commissioners are supposed to be doing and keep up with our own work. So and also we just should not be being ignored. That should be unacceptable. And that's what's happening, and it's continuing to happen. And I thought that there was an agreement at the last meeting that was going to stop, but it hasn't.
Director, you're saying that there's a problem with with you and our chairperson working together.
I think apparently Ruby doesn't want to speak to me, and I can't speak to why that is, but that's her prerogative.
No, let me ask our chairperson how she feels about that. Do you feel like it's difficult for you to work with our director?
Do we want to do this here? Okay, it's not on the agenda, but let me tell you how I feel. I feel disrespected. Okay, every time we're on a meeting, this is what she does, right? This is not even on the agenda, but yet she wants to talk about it. So we have to talk about it. But if anybody else wants to put something on the agenda, she would say, that's not on the agenda. We can't discuss it.
So should we have a special meeting?
The email that she was talking about, I have responded, and Rabbi Karp is part of that trend of email. Okay.
No, you haven't.
Should we have a special meeting, or should we add?
I'm not gonna have I'm not gonna carve out another part of
This cannot go on like this. This cannot.
I understand. And so if we just try to respect each other, and like what Mike said, treat each other like the way you want to be treated, I think we're all going to be okay. But I feel harassed every time.
Oh.
Okay. Here's what's going to happen, guys. The communication. I want the communication put on the agenda for the next meeting. We'll discuss it there in a public forum, guys. If that's what we want to do, I don't have a problem with that. But the thing is and stuff. You can't respond to. No, I'll save my comments to when we get to the discussion. We'll put this on the. I'm just asking for this communication link be put on the agenda for the next month's meeting.
Does it need to be second?
I think I can do that as a commissioner.
Okay, I was.
So is there any other public comments? Do we even have members of the public here?
Yes.
There's at least.
Yes, I wanna, this is Dan Audie. I wanna make a comment here. First of all, congratulations on moving this piece forward. I've only started tuning into the Civil Rights Commission here. I think it was maybe December or January. And it does seem to be spinning the wheels, foot dragging, call it what you want. But commissioners, please remember of just how important the Civil Rights Commission is, that there's real people right here in Davenport, you know, that are looking for y'all to do your jobs. I get it. Strong personalities come together. You know, y'all didn't, some were appointed. Latrice, that's your job. You don't really have a choice. You know, you don't have to like each other, like Mike said. You know, treat each other with respect, but please remember, you know, this is so important of a commission. When I first started watching, I didn't realize that you had a judicial type authority. You know, this isn't, you know, a club. It's super important. There's people relying on you to get the work done and move things along. I get it. It's dealing with law and regulation. There's a lot of timetables, certain periods of things, simply not responding to emails, avoiding them, whatever. An email is a pretty impersonal document and shouldn't have personality in it. Please do the important work. Thank you for what you've done. Try to get better at being a functioning commission. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, sir, thank you. So, motion to adjourn, 12:42.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I so move. I second the motion.
All right, so we're adjourned at 12:42. Thank you.
Okay.
Great day, guys.
A good day. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye now.